does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, you two. We're back again for more of our thoughts from the corner. I'm here with my good friend Lucy.
Hey.
And we just got done with a 4-player game of Cities Skylines, the board game from Cosmos. This is for 1 to 4 players. Age is 10 plus. It'll take about 40 to 70 minutes to play. And we got some thoughts. But in Cities Skylines, I'm actually... so this is based off a video game. I'm going to let you explain the video game a little bit, then we'll talk about the board game. Well, the video game, you called it SimCity, but better.
Yeah, like a better SimCity is more detailed. You get to choose like where your power comes from. You want to be like a green energy city, the different like terrains and areas. It's one that I really loved, and like when I was excited, when I saw that board game, I was like really excited for it to see how it turned out.
I was also in the same boat. They emailed me about this. I said absolutely, because I played the video game as well, and I enjoyed it quite a good deal. And in this game, this is more of a puzzly game, where you are going to be placing all these different shaped tiles by playing construction cards. And the construction cards are going to look something like this. And normally what a construction card will look like is it will have bad things that will happen from installing it. So maybe the pollution will go up, or maybe the crime will go up, or maybe you'll have less trash pickup or something like that. But on the bottom is if you can meet a certain condition, then you're going to gain money or happiness or a whole variety of different things. Also scattered in there, which we did play with, we played the full game of this. You're going to have specific roles because this is a completely cooperative game, a la, so think maybe Pandemic, but not nearly as cool as Pandemic.
Like Pandemic merged with Suburbia.
Yeah, but the Pandemic roles were actually kind of cool, and I didn't feel like our roles were kind of cool. They were just more like, oh, did you happen...
The cooperative aspect of like Pandemic, like you're going to be talking with your... I guess it's all cooperative games, to be honest, but yeah.
But what I'm saying here is, I feel like our special abilities felt very situational. Like, we were trying to puzzle out how to use our role, whereas in Pandemic, it's just like, oh, shit, yeah, I can do this, and I can do that because I'm this person. So I was a little bit disappointed in the roles, which you're going to see in this video is not where the disappointment ends, unfortunately. Yeah. We also played with the buildings. The buildings were kind of cool, where there's going to be some special buildings in here that will have very unique special abilities, and they were free. But essentially what's going to happen is you're going to be playing over a set number of rounds depending on how many of these big tiles you have, which they call milestones. Don't call them milestones. It's stupid and it makes me mad because I don't understand it at all. So, yes. That's what we're going to get to on the description. If you want to know more about how the game's played, I'm going to hopefully post a solo video if I can do another one relatively soon. One thing that I want to mention is that we did screw up a rule. So when you exchange a card, you're actually allowed to put that card into its own separate 4th pile, and then someone else can pick it up instead of drawing a level 1, level 2, or level 3 card, which means it's a lot easier to pass cards to other people, which makes the game significantly easier than the mode that we were playing, because we were essentially playing on extra hard mode, not doing that. Now, I do want to mention that I've played this as a solo game now, and I will still say I'm very ho-hum on this game. I have no real desire to ever play it again. It just doesn't do a lot of different things for me, as I'm about to mention. And also, normally, while I take rules screw-ups on the chin, I want to put an asterisk next to this one, because as I mentioned, or as I'm about to mention, all 4 of us at one point were looking at the rules to this game. So 4 of us essentially read the rules to the game, and all of us missed it, which means it's on you for not putting that in bold and actually going back and replaying it in solo. There's a lot of stuff that I wish was in bold in that rule booklet. But there you go. Boop. But let's just get to the thoughts about the game. Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
You start.
All right. I'm going to start off by saying this very bluntly because, you know, this is what I do. This is not a game I recommend to buy for anyone, period, under any circumstance at all, ever, until there's an expansion, potentially. And then I'd say maybe. This is, at the absolute best case scenario, a try before you buy game. And I'm not talking about as a 4-player game. I'm talking about as a 4-player game and as a solo game, because I don't foresee myself just being amazingly wowed by this game as a solo experience, because I just did play a solo game of it, except I actually got to play with my friends.
Yeah.
And we got to discuss the city building aspect of this, and as Lucy looked up online, apparently, and I absolutely could see this, it's way more difficult, apparently, if you're playing solo, because, yeah, when you're playing 4 players, you have 4 people who say, oh, but if we did it like this, then that would do the thing. And
Word around and...
Yeah. So let's start from the beginning. We open up the box, we pop stuff out. It looks good presentation-wise. I have very little complaints about this presentation-wise. I enjoyed the artwork. The theme is good, and it comes across. You do feel like you're city planners in an absolutely god-awful city that's just burning to the ground.
So much crime. So much crime.
So much crime. But once you start setting things out, and once you get to the rules are not nearly as good as you want to be. And I read the rules today at work, and I was like, okay. And you read the rules, so I think you'll agree with this.
You're all going through it, and it's
straightforward.
It's vague and confusing. It repeats the same words. Like,
But
I'll say, like, place like this service building by a service building.
Yes.
Something like that.
But what I'm getting to is I do what are called blind reads, where I don't have any components and I just read through the rules and it's like, okay, this makes sense. I will be able to teach this, or this is going to be difficult. Mm-hmm. This one seemed like a simple one. I'm trying to set up the situation that actually happened, which was, I was like, this is going to be simple to teach. This is great. We play bust first. I'll be able to knock this out. We'll teach it in 15, 20 minutes. It's cooperative. So as long as everybody kind of has a little bit of a grasp of what's going on, we can help each other out. That is not what happened. No. What happened is everyone started to get frustrated with me, which I know, it happens. It happens when you're teaching rules. It's one of the natures of the beast, because they thought I was being an inadequate teacher. So I went upstairs to go to the bathroom, not out of anger, just because I had to go to the bathroom. Jimmy took the rule booklet. You had the rule booklet pulled up on your phone. Alan had the rule booklet pulled up on his phone. And 3 people were reading the rules after I had already read the rules essentially twice. And it wasn't nearly as clear as it could have been. Now, that being said, I will say, if you end up having this game or you end up trying this game, get their app. Because
to have a QR code actually on the rules, which was nice. It was like interactive, you said?
Yeah, like it actually showed like the pieces physically getting put onto stuff. It was very, very well done. So I will say kudos to them for that, and I look forward to using it in different games that I think I will enjoy a lot more. Mm-hmm. So the rules definitely do need some fine-tuning and some clarification.
Yeah.
Then we got into the gameplay.
And it was okay at first, until we started noticing that we weren't really able to move forward in like any meaningful way, because the game in the rulebook suggests that stick with number 1, go to number 2 like earlier on, just to plan ahead.
The level cards, because there's level 1, level 2, level 3 cards,
and then there's like level 3, stay away unless you certainly have like a plan or something. And we were like noticing, like, we're going through like the level 1 cards, going through them all each time. It's like we're not getting what we want, we're getting horrible cards. And it's like at this point we have to think like we want to end early, not to suffer more, but we're ending so early that we're not gaining points.
Yes, and Jimmy pointed this out quite a few times. He was not a fan of the randomness in the game. And I agree completely, because
my whole issue with it is that, like, we don't know what we're getting into. Like, there's no preamble.
Which does fit thematically to a certain extent.
No,
but
you're a city planner. What do you mean you don't know? Hey, I think we might be able to stop crime.
Yeah.
Only if we can find a police station.
I'm thinking like events,
there's
but
only
you're
one.
Right. You're totally right. Yes, and the randomness, I actually don't mind randomness in games if the game gives you the tools to be able to mitigate the randomness.
Yes, and also if it's fast enough.
This does neither of those. We ended up playing this for an hour-ish.
An hour or so. It was around like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. What time was it?
And it got to that weird point in a game that we've all been there, where it's like, I think everybody would really just like to quit.
Yeah.
But I was for doing this, I don't like to quit early, because this is impression. I want to get the full game. We ended up losing, and it pretty much just, we knew we were going to lose, and we only saw about 60 to 70% of what was coming for the game. But that being said,
we saw a lot, because the only stack that's big is our level 3 ones, which we avoided. At some point, I was just drawing level 3s just to see, like, we can't. Because, like, we just discovered earlier on, like, I guess, spoiler, that, like, in the level 1 cards, there's only 1 that reduces crime, where there's, like, 12 that, like, produce crime, and you can't play more cards that produce crime if you're on your limit. And let me tell you, we got to our limit in crime real quick.
Now, if only there was some spot where maybe they could fill us in with just a little bit more information about what we might expect with the level 1 level. Oh, what's this card? This is the player reference card. Don't you see how useful it is on one side? Dear God, this is 2020, people. Use both sides of the damn reference card. Come on. I mean, I'm sure Tom Vassell was complaining about this 15 years ago. Seriously.
Just double-sided.
So
iconography would have been nice.
I
will say you learn the iconography like real quick.
Yeah, you do learn it pretty quickly.
Yeah, so it's not too bad. Just when you're trying to learn it, it just makes things easier.
But there's other information that could have been put there that would have been more useful.
Or having it like on more than one card.
And then so what you got to is that we did see a lot of the game, and game to game to this, I don't see being crazy different, because Jimmy also made another good point. One of the things he likes about Terraforming Mars is there's lots of synergy. I love synergy in games too. This does not feel like it has some synergy.
The
It's like,
only
oh,
synergy we got was from like those, because I think you said the unique buildings were a part of like a bonus thing, right?
that's one of the extra variants you can mix in.
That's the only synergy we got because that's the only thing that has lasting powers.
Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, I agree with that completely. So game to game of this will be different based on how your city looks, but actual gameplay, like how it's going to feel, I don't know if it's going to feel that different.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't think, like, if I were playing this with 3 different people, I don't think the game would have had any sort of other different outcome aside from people being, I'm not a big fan of this game.
Or just like quarterbacking, essentially, because I could definitely see like especially like reading like
That was already happening too with Alan placing the pieces
with like everything, and it was. What was it? I was going to say like a lot of people like if this is a puzzly game that like you can like do by yourself, like it's like has like that sort of like quality to it, and I don't know if that's really interactive. I don't know if it's like fit for a cooperative kind of gameplay.
In theory, if we were all looking at all the information at the same time and just making the decisions kind of together,
but we couldn't even like make like an educated guess because all we could do was like, I hope we get negative crime cards.
I hope, yeah. There was a point where we had to get. We
have all these forest cards. Too bad we don't have a forest.
Yeah.
Our city planning can't find a forest.
Yeah. The more we talk about this game, the less I like it because there are some redeeming qualities that could be seen if with an expansion. I honestly cannot recommend this game to anyone.
This
period,
issue is just like I could see if you like puzzly games or like I think like even though it's hard as a solo game, like I can only really see this as a solo game. Or you just want to go for your own high score.
Yes.
If you come in this expecting the video game, you will be disappointed.
Would you agree with me in saying that even if that is you and puzzly games are your jam and you love hard puzzle, this is still a try before you buy. Yeah, this is still a try before you buy. Best case scenario, period.
I can't even like blame it like on the change of medium because like cuts and like changes have to be made for a different medium. A video game to a board game, things are going to be cut, things are going to change different.
Oh yeah, you weren't expecting this to play like the video game. You weren't expecting this to be like, this is like City Skyline the video game.
Yeah, I can just like color code, I can just paste everything. No, like I was expecting it to be, I was expecting changes, but like I wanted something that like gave me the same feeling. For example, the best thing I could think of is Plague Inc. We played that, Plague Inc. It plays exactly just like anti-pandemic, or it plays like regular pandemic if you know the Flash game, the old Flash game, and that translates so well from like a video game to a board game. That game and it, like that just like raised the bar on all like video game based board games. I'm like, if it's not this, or even though it's like Dark Souls, the board game, it's expensive, but it was fun also with its AI deck of just like trying to translate video game mechanics. I do not have it. I played it before.
Bring that over. I want to try that.
Oh, it's fun because I also own what's it called, Kingdom Death Monster, which was what it was inspired by, which has the AI deck. What? Maybe.
All right,
you know
that's enough of Lucy's
up.
bragging. Let's get back to talking about how City Skyline, the board game, is a game I don't think either of us are going to recommend.
No.
Yeah. So there you go. Try it before you buy it, and honestly, I think you could probably just not even do that. It's not a
Get Suburbia.
terrible game,
Get Suburbia.
but it's...
Get Suburbia.
Yeah, I'd recommend that.
Suburbia plays similarly. You have your tile playing as a solo mode, where you can just like go for your own high score. I really can't. Like, if you like this game or liked playing it, I suggest even just going out to try Suburbia, because you might like it better, and it has more expansions for it.
So Lucy's telling you, if you like this game, you're wrong. Go play a better game.
Go play, like, try Suburbia, maybe. It has there's a collector's edition.
I don't know if I'd go that far. I do agree that Suburbia's better than this game. But that is Cities Skyline, the board game from Cosmos. A very disappointing game. Probably going to make, if I make a list, this would probably be in my top 10 most disappointing, because I did have high hopes for it.
It's really pretty. The
It
inside
does.
of the box, like I never saw that before.
That's cool. That's a cool thing.
That's,
I think it's cool.
the inside of the box though has a city and everything.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it actually does.
See, I never seen that before. It's so nice. The artwork alone is so nice.
But don't buy it.
Don't buy it.
If you're enjoying what we're doing, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below. And in the comments below, let me know, what video game would you like to see translated over to a board game, assuming it did not suck and it worked thematically? What video game? Any video game in the whole wide world.
You go first. I need to think.
All right. Off the top of my head, I would love to see a deck building game based off of a... you know what? I want a Civilizations... No, I just...
That already exists, I believe. Doesn't it? I'm pretty sure Civ, the board game, exists.
I would like to play an Overwatch style game where everybody's got their own unique special abilities, but it feels like a first person shooter. So I remember playing Frag from Steve Jackson Games, which I really liked, which I thought recreated a first person shooter pretty well. But I'd like to see one with a bunch of asymmetricals, different special abilities like Overwatch. That was also team based. I would love a team based game. That'd be a really really niche
Maybe
game.
like nice little miniatures. You could just have them like fight over. That'd be so nice.
Probably already exists and it probably sucks.
Oh no! Shut up! Don't say that.
But what game do you want?
Oh god, I was just.
Just pick a game you like.
I don't. I'm just trying to think. All I know is like just like Japanese RPGs and.
Then just name a Japanese RPG you want to be.
I don't know. Persona 5.
What kind of game is it?
It's like a.
No. I mean, what game are you going to turn it into? Euro deck builder?
No, it's
placement.
It's like a D&D type of like RPG.
Oh, so it's a role player?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like building up stats.
You can do that.
I don't know.
I mean, if you want to talk about role-playing games on this channel and never talk about role-playing games, whatever. You do you. But let me know in the comments below. I'm sure your answers will be way better than ours.
Probably.
But as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.